everyone. Bedtime confessions. I'm going to talk a little bit about just the fundamentals of attachment in romantic relationships. Just the fundamentals of it. There's a lot of depth. There's great maps out there that you can kind of see how the whole thing plays out. But there's essentially like three most common attachment styles that I've come across and experienced in my relationships. There's the anxious attached, there's the avoidant attached, and then there's the securely attached. And the dynamic typically plays out like I'm going to tell a story here. And see if you can map yourself onto the story. See if you can see yourself playing one role or the other role, or sometimes flipping between the roles, but see if you can see yourself in this story. So, two people are single or in like unhealthy relationships, right? So, what they're experiencing is a longing for connection, right? Longing for connection. And so, these two people find each other in this longing for connection. And in the beginning, it feels so good. And the truth is that we're like on our best behavior. We're super attentive and caring, right? Honeymoon phase, you might call it. So everybody's happy and connected and on their best behavior, and super attentive to each other. And then the honeymoon phase ends, right? Where it's like, okay, the facade that we were holding up, it's just not sustainable, right? Like our habitual ways of being start to emerge and come to the surface and express themselves in the relationship. It typically, the way I've experienced it and I see it happening in partnerships, is that the person who has an avoidant attachment style, they start to feel a little claustrophobic in the relationship. It's taking up too much of their time, too much of their energy, too much of their space, right? And they start to energetically or behaviorally, they start to withdraw. They start to pull their energy back a little bit. Maybe less text messaging, maybe less planning together, maybe just less energy in the relationship when you're together. So it feels different, feels a little more distant. And then the person who's kind of anxiously attached, they start to feel their partner withdraw. They start feeling them pull away. And so the impulse to kind of get needy or demanding, right, starts to get louder. Where did you go? What's going on? What's happened in our relationship? Why is it different? Does that sound familiar? Yeah. So you got this avoidant person that's kind of pulling out, and then you've got this anxious person that's going towards. Well, what happens for the avoidant person? They start to feel more crowded, right? They start to feel more claustrophobic in the relationship. They were trying to get space, and their partner's now coming towards them, and not in like a loving, affectionate, like seductive kind of way, right? It's like for processing. I was already feeling too close to you, and now I need to connect with you in a way that doesn't feel good and is not fun. And as an avoidant person who, usually avoiding conflict, so you just now you're not connecting in a way that feels good. So you're wanting even more space, which of course the anxious person gets even more anxious. So then how does this play out? Well, some relationships end at this point. Either the avoidant person says, "You're too much for me," right? And they pop out. Or the anxious person says, "You're not enough for me," right? And they pop out. And sometimes they get back together. They get some space, they get lonely, but there was a familiarity, there was a memory of the ways they connected well with each other. And so they get back together. They do it again. And it feels really good. You get like a shorter version of the honeymoon phase. Everybody's on their best behavior, right? But then the same dynamics, these unhealed, avoidant, and anxious attachment styles, these unconscious, avoidant, and anxious attachment styles, they start to play out again. You start to feel a little claustrophobic, start to feel a little clingy and needy. You get this little chase going on, the tension builds, and you pop out of the relationship again. If you don't become conscious of these dynamics, you may pop out of the relationship and you'll get lonely again, and then you'll go out and find another partner who has the same, you know, polarity, you might call it the anxious avoidant polarity, where you're attracted, magnetized to each other, and you play it out again. So let's contrast that to somebody who has a secure attachment style. Secure attachment style is, you know, these people, right? Hopefully, you know some of these people. They're actually kind of good with themselves. They have a healthy relationship with themselves, healthy relationship maybe with their family. Sometimes meaning they don't have a relationship with their family. That's the healthiest one that they can have, but they're okay with that. You know, they have healthy friendships, hobbies. You know, they enjoy their own time. Maybe they enjoy the work that they have. These people are like pretty good. I don't want to idealize them. I don't want to make them superhuman or anything like that. But on a spectrum, you can tell these people who are pretty healthy in themselves. Yeah, they're pretty content with themselves and their lives. And securely attached people, sometimes because they don't need a relationship in order to feel fulfilled, they're already feeling pretty fulfilled. They kind of wait and filter through people. They date, and if dynamics aren't working, they're able to let them go. They're able to end relationships in a, you know, peaceful way, at least peaceful inside of themselves, even if it causes disruption for the other person. And they wait for another securely attached person to show up, and then they live happily ever after. Sometimes, you know, sometimes sneaky stuff still has to come up, and life takes us in different directions. But these are relationships that have the best chance to be co-creative and really healthy. And sometimes a securely attached person falls in love with somebody who's anxiously attached or has an avoidant attachment style. And because they're content within themselves and they're naturally, genuinely in love with this person, an avoidant person, right, will try to say to a secure person, "You're crowding me, you're taking up too much space. I need more space to myself." And a securely attached person will say something to the effect of, like, "Oh, well then, I support you. Take some more space. What do you need? I'll be okay." And an avoidant person goes, "Excuse me? You're not going to come after me? You're not going to, like, you know, try and process this with me? You're just going to allow me to take some space for myself?" And if the avoidant person is able to, like, stay in relationship with them, they kind of start to learn what it means to have a secure attachment from this person who is okay in themselves and is okay with them coming and going as they need. And sometimes a securely attached person falls in love with somebody who's anxiously attached, right? And the anxiously attached person looks at them and says, "Where are you going? Why are you pulling back?" And the securely attached person says, "I haven't gone anywhere. I'm right here. Sometimes I need to take time for myself. And I'm still here. I haven't gone anywhere. Tell me what's going on for you. I can hear that. I can receive it. I can stay in relationship with you. As long as this doesn't become abusive where you're demanding something of me that I'm not comfortable giving, as long as we can co-create a way of connecting that feels good to both of us, then I can continue to show up for this." And if the anxiously attached person can stick around long enough and learn to trust that, right, that they're going to get the connection that they need, they're going to get the attention that they want, but it's also okay for their partner to take some space, and it doesn't mean that they've gone anywhere. An anxiously attached person can grow into a more securely attached style of relating. So I hope that's useful. Just a little story. Maybe you can map yourself onto that and see how your attachment style has affected your past relationships and maybe your current relationship.